Hello and welcome to another video from me, Jumbo, from Wildway Bushcraft. First off, I hope everybody's doing all right. Everyone is in good spirits, in self-isolation. Everyone's families are all right. Crazy times we're living in. But yeah, hopefully this video will keep you entertained. This video is all about axe sharpening with stuff that you take to the woods. So axe sharpening with a field kit. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. So, the axe that we're going to sharpen is this one. It's one of mine, made for me by a guy called Alex Pole, who's extremely good. It's a bit fancy as opposed to your sort of Grand Force Brooks. It's great. It's an all-in-one axe for me. It splits really well. It carves really well when I'm out in the woods. I don't use it in the workshop, but when I'm out in the woods, it does everything. I can choke up on it nice there. What we're going to need for the field is an axe file. So this is a coarse axe file, just a normal metal file, but Grand Force Brooks have put a little handle on it and charged more money for it. Then there's a diamond file. You can see there, just a normal sort of diamond file. Any file will do. Your DC3 that you have, your DC4, that'll work really well. You don't need a specific Grand Force Brooks one. A puck, an axe puck, with two sides on it. One that's fine and one that's coarse. Again, it doesn't have to be a Grand Force Brooks one. There are other brands available. They were quite tricky to get hold of after a while, but I'm sure I haven't really checked recently, but I'm sure there's loads out there now. Yes, so the coarse side and the fine side. You're also going to want, if you can, a marker pen just to mark the edge on your axe to see where you're taking off the steel, just like you would do if you were you're sharpening your knife. It's always good to colour in the bevel when you're first starting. You take off the steel, the pen comes off, you can see where you've sharpened. These files are used predominantly to get rid of nicks in the blade. And what I mean by a nick is that on the edge of your blade here, you'll have basically a chip or a nick out of it. The way you use those is by grinding the bevel and the cutting edge down until you've got rid of the nick. Now, I don't have any any axes with nicks in, and I'm certainly not going to damage one on purpose just so I can sharpen it. So what I've done is I've drawn this for you. So this is a picture of an axe, or a picture of this axe actually, with a nick in it. And what we do is we use our coarse file, and with our coarse file, we go around the edge of the bevel, okay, or the edge of the cutting edge, until that is flat, or until the nick is out, should I say. So you carry on with your coarse file, filing the edge of your axe until that nick is gone. Cool. At that point, you're going to be left with a very blunt axe, but with no nick, which is one step closer. You then take your fine file and you use it to grind out the edge, to start to sharpen it by pushing it towards the cutting edge. All right, so towards the cutting edge like that. Once you've done that and you're happy and you think you're getting there, then we move on to the axe puck. Now I am going to show you actually how to use the axe puck, but considering I've started these drawings, I might as well carry on. You then get your axe puck with your coarse side and you make fine little circles along the edge, okay, like that. Fine little circles. Then you take the axe puck and you use the fine side. So one side with the coarse, one side with the fine, like that. And we keep going round and round and round. Until your axe is nice and sharp. Then we're going to strop the axe. So using a belt, okay, we're going to draw the axe away from the cutting edge, like so on the belt. All right. I'm going to show you now with the actual axe puck itself. So axe puck, This is pretty blunt, so I'm going to start with the coarse edge. Now I like to stick it in here because it gives you a little bit of extra grip. All right, well, with a coarse stone, and we're just going to go round and round. I'll show you that like that. I'm going to go round and around in little circles, trying to match the bevel as much as possible, like so. And then we're going to turn it around and do the other side as much as possible. And we're listening at the same time as doing that. The higher the pitch, the sharper the axe, okay? So if you hear a real horrible grinding sound, it's because it's blunt. So, nice and blunt here. Moving into the center of the axe. Bit higher pitch, bit sharper. And moving down, okay? Then once I'm happy, I'm going to get the fine edge of the axe puck. And I'm going to go around. And you can hear the difference. I know down here is dull as dishwater. Can you hear that sound? Grinding sound. If we move along, goes a bit more high pitched. I'm going to do that until I've had enough. Turn it around. Now I tried to go sort of a minute each side, roughly a minute, keeping sort of a rough count in my head. Doesn't matter if it's gone too far one side, you know, a minute and a half one side and a minute on the other. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep that bevel the way it was designed. All right. You're going around. Keep going. You can hear now, you can really hear the difference. Nice and sharp, sharper still, and then back to that sort of dullness. You'll also be able to see lots of little shiny bits on the edge of the axe. And that's where we've taken steel off and we're exposing new metal essentially. Now, I touch my axes up in the woods maybe once every other day if I'm using them. You know, we're out for maybe a week, 2 weeks. Once every other day, just give them a little touch up and a little bit of TLC. If you've got a nick, it's a good few hours worth of work to get that nick out. So the best way to keep your axe sharp is to not damage it in the first place. But accidents happen. Despite our better judgment, we lend tools to friends, and you know they invariably come back looking like butter knives. But you can get these axes extremely sharp. Now axes don't need to be shaving sharp. I mean, it's nice if they are, but they don't need to be if it's just for splitting wood. Splitting firewood, you know, making some kindling. It doesn't really, they don't need to be shaving sharp. It's just, you know, if you're using it to carve, then shaving sharp is better. So let's have a look if I can get any hair off my arm with this. There we go. So, managed to take some hair off and give myself a bit of a naked arm. So, the only other thing I'd do is give this a strop, just exactly like you would on with a knife, okay, but you know, it's an axe, it doesn't need it, in my opinion. The only other thing I do in the woods is use this. So this is Trex. It doesn't come like this. It comes in a lovely plastic tub from the supermarket, of all places. Trex is a vegan spread, a vegan butter, as it were. Because there's nothing in it, no animal produce at all, it doesn't go off. It doesn't smell. This has been in here for about 4 years, okay? And all I do at the end of a sort of session of maintenance is I just wipe the axe head over with the Trex, and that acts to protect the steel, all right, and stop any possible rust developing. Boop-a-doo. Being careful not to run your finger along the edge of that axe. And then I just give the handle a wipe down. And that, for me, is pretty much it. Now I'm going to run through that with that paperwork again quickly. So we start off with our coarse file, and using our coarse file we file out the nick, the flat on the edge of the bevel, okay? So we do that by using that file on the edge of the bevel, okay, like that. Once that nick is no longer there, okay, we've filed it out, we've essentially brought the edge down there, all that material is gone, okay? We then move on with our file, our finer file. Now if you've taken a lot off, you can use the coarse one, but normally I'd use the fine one. And we use the fine file to push away, like so. Okay, we're pushing the file towards the edge, and what we're aiming to do is we've gone from a nice point to a round essentially, and what we're trying to do is bring these sides in and put it back to a point. Okay, once that's done, we take the axe puck, and the axe puck we go around in little circles, okay, bringing in that edge and honing it a bit, really putting that fine edge on there now, okay, and then we turn it over and we go again like that. Once that's done, we get the strop, also known as a belt, leather belt, and we use a strop just like we would strop a knife, okay, pulling the axe away along the edge of that belt, okay. You don't need to strop it, all right. All stropping does is knock out little bits of burr, little bits of metal here and there. We don't need to, but it's a nice thing to do if we've got the time. Okay, now I've already shown you that the axe can take some hair off my arm. Should have no problem, here we go, making some curls on this bit of cedar. There we go. So it's sharp enough to get the feather stick out. It's sharp enough to split wood. It's sharp enough to carve your spoon or bowl or whatever it is you want to carve. There you go. That is sharpening an axe with a field kit. If you would like to see how to sharpen an axe with workshop stuff, namely a Tormek, a machine, a water-cooled machine, then just drop me a comment below, just one word, whatever, Tormek, and we'll and I'll do one. I'll do one on the Tormek. In fact, if you do it on the Tormek, I'll properly blunt one so you can see, because that'll take a little while. stay safe out there, look after each other, stay out of trouble. Hopefully when all this is over, we'll get to see you in the woods. Bye now.